Hey guys, name's Wyatt Garland, and this is my first official video. I'm going to be drawing a video game series of Dark Souls. So I've played Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Love all the games, but I love the character designs and all the monsters and creatures. They're dark fantasy, so they're a lot of fun to depict. And I've been thinking about doing this series for a while, so I'm really excited to just sort of like get the first one on paper. And we're going to start with the Asylum Demon. I mean, that just makes the most sense to me. I know some people don't like consider it a boss because it's like kind of easy once you're like realizing how to play the game, you know, it's kind of just like a shock boss, you know, because it's just scary and you're not used to dying in general, but it's an experience, you know, and I feel like it's a quintessential Dark Souls experience. So, yeah, it's definitely how we're going to start. We're going to start with a bit of a larger pencil here, and we're going to map out the space. So, the Asylum Demon is in a church, and there's the, you know, the quintessential sort of area you drop from to attack him, and then there's the sort of escape. But I want to really communicate something important about him. Let's see, what is that? I want to communicate how much he fills up the stage. Right. Yeah, because if I make the perspective like this, right? If I make it like this is the first thing I drew. Now, why did I think of that, right? So we've got these hard lines right here. Let me make sure you can see it, okay? So this is you entering the boss room and exiting. For those of you who've played the game, you know you run to the left. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do. Isn't that cool? I was like, oh no, I'm going to draw the victory. You know, I'm going to draw the sort of escape. It's like, no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to draw the picture like that. But it's funny that the first thing I want to do is run away from this thing because, you know, the first thing you think of when you think of this boss is how underleveled you are. No, we're going to do a very low perspective because this thing is very, very looming. It's huge. It's a huge thing. And I want to be able to see the sort of like point where you jump down and eventually defeat him, but I want it to be obfuscated quite a bit so that we're not sure if we're gonna make it, right? There has to be that sort of like that tension, okay? So, these are good blocking. Now these blocking lines are a little different than honest lines just because I don't want to have to work against them too hard. Okay, so, looking back in the reference, yeah, we've got these nice big colanders, nice big columns right here that we're gonna use to sort of ground our piece. Very nice. And then we're going to make sure this stupid thing is turned off. I'm sorry. Wow. I'm an idiot. Okay. So we know where the place is. And if you'll notice, there's actually a nice little divot here. Because the beast itself, is sitting sort of on this sort of like indent in the floor. Like there is a sort of indent. He's not specifically just standing on flat ground. You're standing in sort of a bowl. So I want to communicate that. So I'm going to make that a little bit lower. Push this back. All right. We're getting somewhere now. Now we're sort of setting the scene. And this is fun. And we got, of course, the big door that is being blocked. But we're probably not even going to see the door. To be honest. And yeah, there's some more architecture back there. Let me get a little bit of it, just so we have a reference. We don't want to... The background is nice and cool and gothic and cathedral, but we don't want it to overshadow what we're really here to do, which is draw that thick boy, the first monster. Yeah, and it's the scope of him, really, that just sort of, like, sets the tone for the rest of the game. You're like, oh, okay, I'm small in comparison, so yeah, sort of flat. Right. I was drawing sort of I need to be drawing okay, here we go. I don't need to be drawing, okay, and then I'll have the column over here. So I'm drawing the wall right now. So let's put some lines here to push this back a little bit so we know what's happening. And then, this is there we go. This is a edge of the wall. This is our goal, right? We want to make it here. That's the dream. I'm putting a little off kilter here, so we're at sort of an angle. And yeah, we'll put sort of like the chosen undead here. No, I want them here. I'm gonna put them unsteady. I don't remember if you actually sort of stagger when he drops. I mean, I can only imagine you would, right? Like, you would just sort of like drop. I wonder, I've never looked into like the game files or like, is he like up here? Is he just like waiting? I mean, is there no roof? I forget how this is designed. But that's pretty funny if he's just Spider-Manning on the... I hope there is a ceiling, and he's just Spider-Manning here when he jumps down. I'm talking like everybody's played Dark Souls, but I mean, honestly, it's a pretty popular game. A lot of people have played it. But, yeah, the idea is this is the first boss, and it really just sets the scene for how difficult the game is. And you get thrown into a cathedral, which is supposed to be a place of sanctuary, and you find this demon. Okay, so... Right. Yeah. Block out the shapes. Here we go. We got this. This is super exciting for everybody, right? Well, it's super important. I want to make it a very honest tenet of this channel. I mean, I thought about doing some concept sketches before, right? And that saves some time, and then maybe you just watch me ink it and stuff, but it's not really what I'm about. I don't really like that. I like sharing the moment that I come to what I want to draw and why I want to draw it and how I want to draw it. You know, like it all just sort of comes together because of the act of drawing. Before, you know, because if you have lines already on the paper, it just says so much about what you already want to do. And then essentially showing anybody what you're going to do is kind of just like, you know, I feel like it's already spelled out. At least for me. I don't feel like I have anything to talk about. I don't feel like it's fun. All right, now this is good. See, let's dig down to the ground a little bit more. Yeah, I love this. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're really chiseling it in. So a far cry from our first composition, which I don't even know if you guys can see very well with a pencil, but yeah, so the exit, the lovely exit would be over here. So when the game starts you don't really know, but you're supposed to run to the side because that's the only way to escape him, because you can't beat him the first time. And it's the game's way of saying, hey, look, there are monsters in this game that are stronger than you. Like, you have to think about lots of things before you fight them. Not just, oh, I can beat anything because it's in front of me. And that's, you know, like a concept that a lot of people were excited that Dark Souls introduced because, you know, games are becoming a little complacent as far as being things that, you know, people just consumed instead of challenges that people could rise to. And then Dark Souls was like, hey, here's a challenge. And everyone was like, you know, we're going to respond really well to this, generally. I mean, obviously it's still tough, but... All right, we're going to simplify this architecture a little bit because I'm really frothing at the mouth here. I really want to draw this demon. I mean, just, come on. But yeah, generally there's sort of like a roof thing here. We're going down. And yeah, we've got some lines here. I'm not an architect. This is not exciting for me, but I understand its importance. Bloodborne has some really cool architecture, but so do all the other games, you know? Like, very cool. Like, as much as Bloodborne really goes into the Gothic style, Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 and 3 have some really cool dark fantasy concepts for their places. Okay, all right, let's get this a little bit more exciting. Okay. We got a big boy right here. So, generally speaking, very, very small, sort of like upper body, huge, massive, lumbering, disgusting lower body is the idea. And then these tiny, almost hilariously small feet. And then we've got this adorned head to, of course, showcase the importance that this demon has. It is a boss. It is guarding something that's important. It needs to look important. And we've got a heavy, heavy stick. Now, this is the... And it's got, like, one claw, you know? Like, later, a version of this boss is called the Stray Demon. Like, it's sort of like a clone of it, I think, in Dark Souls 3, and that's interesting, but it's... so it kind of, like, leads one to believe, well, maybe this is a type of demon that is, like, lost or something. I'm sure the lore explains it perfectly, and I'm, you know, not 100% up on it. But, yeah. So, we're going to do this. We're going to put it on the paper, and we're going to see how it looks on the paper. And we're going to see if we want to keep drawing it on the paper. I've kind of got this, like, perspective thing going where it's really just coming down, but I don't even think I, like, there we go. It's got, like, a tail, too. I know this. This I know. I'm looking back a lot because I have a giant picture of it over there. I was thinking about using my phone for references, but honestly, I like having my whole computer up for it because there we go. Now, we want to be able to see, I see, this is going to be key for the illustration. We want to see this sort of back fat here on this neck, right? We want the information to be, we want the information that this thing has depth to be very, very clear. Okay. Not darkness here. More darkness here. Now, I mean, this is the standard pose. And then we're going to have the chosen undead kind of here. And we'll have this sort of happening here. Alright, let's push back a little bit. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Well, that's going to be there. And this is why I don't get too detailed with the architecture, because sometimes we don't even know what we're going to draw. Like, I didn't bother drawing any of that door because, you know, we know what's going to happen. I'm going to draw the demon in front of the door, so there's no much point to drawing the door. And I'm liking this. I don't feel like this space is being used very much, though. I get it. He's shifting down here, so this weight is implied. But I kind of want to use this. Huh. In the reference photo for scale, his horn right here gets a little bit higher than... Why don't I make him bigger? Yeah, why don't I just make him huge? Let's just get crazy with him. I want a massive problem. And we'll pull this out a little bit even more. You know, actually, we can keep the same perspective. How about even falling down? Ooh, I like a stumble. Okay, so we've got a figure right here that is stumbling. So, I like this shape concept. So let's make it let's just make the shapes bigger. Ooh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. This will be the chest. Very small, crazy weird chest. Horns off the page, of course. That's how important he is. He doesn't fit on the page. And, oh, this is, I need him in the middle. You see, I am a sucker for action shots. I cannot do someone standing still. But, you know, I'm a moron, so I have to draw something. I have to draw something first to know that I don't want it. How am I supposed to know I don't want something unless I see it first? Okay, so, no, okay, so, right there, and this sort of like, he's always got both hands on it. So let's have him just chucking it down, like really hard choke. Here we go. How about a sweep? I'm having him like double hand smash it, but I'm definitely sure he's got a sweep. And also it's my illustration, so screw off actual boss attacks. I'm not being asked to draw it in a certain attack, so I can do whatever I want. I want to do this page the way I want to do it. So, twisted. Okay, I start to see it now. So he is pulling it. Yeah, he had one where he like raked the ground almost. You know, very area effecty. Yeah, this line right here, I love this line. I'm in love with this line right here. We're keeping that line. We're finding a way. Also, it's like, notice that I've chosen to make it at an angle here, so a lot of the weight comes here, which is good, I want this. So, how do I make sure that is held? Well, the grip point of it should be here. Okay. The grotesqueness of the head should be here. Okay. And then, like, he's almost like pushing it off. Like he just, Because this weapon he's having, it's not a weapon. It's just like this disgusting boulder. And I like to think that in canon, in case you don't know, in the game, you come back to this area later and the floor that you fought him on crumbles, and you fight another demon, actually. So I like the canon being that this fight actually broke the ground, and then you come back to it and it's just weakened. Huge hips here. Also, I always like the idea of the stray demon. Stray demon. I'm confusing myself. I like the idea of this demon being a personification of, like, gluttony. That's kind of like how it felt when I saw it, which is really cool. I mean, a lot of demons are kind of like their design falls into sort of this power thing where they look either abstract horror or like they're so powerful they could just tear you in half, right? And this somehow does both of those things, but then on top of that makes it just like disgusting to look at. And there's also like the double horror of like looking at something that's so sort of enfeebled by its bloated weight, but then is still strong enough to like destroy you. I mean, that's messed up, man. All right. I think we've got, yeah. So it's just sort of pulling this thing, and it's pulling up the ground, obviously, and it's got these big shins, obviously, to support its grotesque weight. And then these just, disgusting thighs. We've got this and this. It's horrifying folds. And this will be dark. And then this will be its bones. And then we can do there and there and there and there. And then its skull. Okay. So, a little off center, which is good. Okay. By the way, I'm using 0.9 lead. Just feel like it has a little more pore as far as like graphite, like laying down a little bit. It's better for me. Okay, I can pull back a little bit now. So this is the sweep of the attack. So I want to pull this in. And I want to sort of like communicate this sort of like frenzied back roll. There we go. Oh, and he's got to be holding a broken sword. Yeah, this is before you get your armor or anything. So this is the first time you see it. This is not like the triumphant victory. This is the aghast horror at actually realizing that, at coming to terms with the fact that this is the first boss of the game. Oh, I love that. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Something from nothing, as promised. We started with the mistakes and we got there. But that's the whole friggin' point, in my opinion. I'll never forget when my art teacher told me in college, well, Wyatt, yeah, if you lay down all those lines and all that work down there, then you're gonna have to fight it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's the fun part. I want to fight it. I want to fight it, and I want to win. That's why I like Dark Souls, and that's why I like art. Because it's a battle. I know it doesn't have to be, but I don't see why you shouldn't turn it into that. Or maybe it's like that I'm good at fighting, so I try to make it a fight so that I'll win? I don't know. It's whatever. Drawing psychology is boring. Let's talk about what I'm drawing. Alright, so we've got a Dark Souls boss here. My plan is to do all of them, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's try to get this guy on first. Now, we're pushing back a lot with the eraser. Before we start getting too committed with any of these lines, we're making sure we're keeping the lines that we want. We can have this lights. Oh, this will be the light source. Perfect. Oh, it's like a sun. It's like a radiating sun. God, so like all of this is just dark. Oh, this is gonna look great. Yeah. So all of this is dark. Cool. Awesome. Nice. And then it's gonna be like that. Okay. Alright. and then it gets pulled. So if he's pulling this, I need to build a little bit more there. And you see, this is the best part about... Okay, alright, you can do this. Where is it? Okay, big pieces of plaster just gushing out of the floor to indicate the power. I don't even... This will be his foot, but we're not even going to see most of that. Yeah, there's the light outline of the door here, but it's dark. It's not paying attention to. So, oh my god, this light source is going to be everything. And the best part is it means something, specifically. It is the salvation. For those of you who've played the game, you come back around later and you can get a diving attack from here on his head and deal more than half his health, I think. It's a big deal. You don't have to do it that way. He's not that hard once you get remotely accustomed to the game, but that's generally how you do it. He's the tutorial boss. But look at me. This is why I love Dark Souls. I'm getting excited by drawing the tutorial boss. The tutorial boss is normally just so forgettable. It's not even funny. Even in Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Game of the Year 2019. Even in that game, they had a tutorial boss that was just you don't. He was just some random general or something. He's not a big deal. Okay, all right. We're getting there. This is a fun journey. Okay, all right. So let's see. So we know where he is, and we've got this really exciting light source. Oh, so this whole thing is just gonna be gorgeous globs of black, just indicating how far from the sun he is. And we'll put a little bit of highlight here and on his back, but yeah, let's do a little bit there. But even then, let's push back. So we know what we're talking about. We got the tail. We cannot forget the tail. But yeah, this is gonna be solid black right here. Oof, he's gonna look heavy as shit, man. It's gonna be great. Okay. Alright. Okay. Now, let's work on the stumble a little bit. He's not really the piece, but... Okay, so, figure. Falling. He can do this. Okay, alright. Okay. He's going to be holding, of course, the broken sword, and he's going to be skinny as friggin' hell. Okay, so where is it? There he goes, yeah. Skinny. Okay. Completely covered in black. I mean, there should be a tiny bit of light on him, but... Well, maybe that can be a part of the piece. The only light that really exists is going to be... This area will be light, and this area will be light. And he's in front of the door and he's blocking it. Now look how much more fun that is. We'll have a big chunk of black right there to really pull. Okay, guys, that is the rough pencil. That's the push and pull. That's the fun part. I'm going to clean this picture up a little bit, and then we're going to start on the inking. The cleanup won't take too much longer. I just want to tighten everything, and that's just kind of a little bit of tedium, so not really exciting. But once we get into the inking, that's the next stage. So stay tuned. Check out the final illustration and more of my illustrations on Wyatt Garland Art on Instagram. And yeah, I'm really excited about this series. Which Dark Souls boss are you excited about seeing drawn? I've got a couple I'm really excited for. Mostly the humanoid ones. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, that's going to be fun. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.